Alright, hello and welcome. This is CT5 and gonna go over this game. It's been a few weeks. I remember I took a brief look at it earlier and there was definitely some stuff I noticed, and it's probably gonna be more now that I'm rewatching it and it's not as fresh in my mind, for better or worse. Right? There are some advantages to looking at it right away, and then some others to watch it from a little bit later down the line. Anyways, let's get started. Next Making Better Moves video next week? I think I can do that. 1 or 2 weeks, hopefully 1 week. Anyways, so right off the bat, if you remember, if you did watch this video, if you didn't, don't worry about it. This is probably going to be just as fun and interesting. 3 elf wizards pose actually a big problem, both not only because my team doesn't have as much movement, that's the biggest one, but then also there's actually a weird spot where when I talked about the maps, I talked about how this elf is kind of in an awkward spot, this character here. And that, you can't really go where, and either way you go feels kind of bad. What's neat is that at some point my units will try and pressure this elf, but they could, if the elf ends up back here, they can still actually see and influence quite a bit of the map, which is really neat. So it's not as terrible to be back here for an elf wizard. And then I think I actually moved this elf ward too early on, which we will see very soon. I think I moved it too early on. And I also ended up discarding the wild run at the end. That was a mistake, but let's just go one step at a time and talk about it as things show up. It's also possible I might have been a little bit too careful of playing around like telekinesis and stuff here. Yeah. Let's just keep going. It's too early. Hell, I think it makes total sense. That makes sense. My dad. Okay, so what I don't like about that. Well, there's 2 things. One, I moved into line of sight of this one, which I may or may not have mentioned this one earlier. It was too early to move this one. I think I need to wait to see if the last elf wizard was going to do something to better decide where to go with my elf. Like, no matter where my elf goes, I am going to be at the risk of a telekinesis, right? And I think I want to move this out to bait it out and see if there's telekinesis right off the bat to just plop me back in there, which would be annoying, but wild run discarding strong hack I'm actually okay with. So depending on stuff, I could just hop out again. I think that might have been why I moved it out first, because I had the extra move that I was planning to use. But overall, I think it was too early because, like, I don't have a good sense of who I should be trying to attack. That was my feeling. Obviously, I am kind of biased because I'm looking at, I know that I lost, right? I'm looking for ways to get better. Okay, they passed, and I take the pass as well, which is very reasonable. I have things I want to discard. Probably hide strips and massive jaws. I discarded. Did I discard the run in the strong bludgeon? That's so greedy from me. But the reason I pause here is actually playing Bless. If something I was concerned about is seeing what the opponent does, much like how Volcano will probably trigger some sort of reaction from the enemy, doing Bless in this sort of suboptimal way, right? Typically we want to Bless at the end of the round to get a huge advantage into the next round, but you can play Bless in this sort of weird situation just to provoke a reaction from your opponent, and then use that to, maybe find an opening. Especially since I have that wild run, I can basically go anywhere with this elf. Again, maybe not exactly, I don't have good follow-up, but I just get to be annoying and scary, right? If they pass again, we pass and we have the advantage. If we even just have one character on, then it's like the Bless didn't really cost us a card. So that's one of the things where we always like assume, we're sort of always looking for like best case scenario, or we assume cards must be done in a certain way. Oh my god, I missed the forward thinking. That's fine. But we often, it's a thing called functional fixatedness. It's the idea where like we often see, we find one use for a thing, and then we only use that thing in the one way we thought of how to use it. Common thing, it's definitely something I fall into. And yeah, as I noted, discarding the Wild Run ultimately was a mistake. Right, if I mentioned earlier, in the real game itself and in this analysis, movement is important. I need my movement. They gotta keep the movement. It does suck to discard the Reliable Mail, but hey, I can still pressure with my first dash, right? I still have one normal move. I can do stuff, and then if I really need to, then I use the Wild Run. I think my next big mistake happens when my Priest moves, because I missed a Vanguard trigger. Right here. I instinctively went here, and I totally missed that if I had gone here, I could have been able to run, Nimble Strike, and woo, be in a good spot. Instead, I have to like, what, 1, then run here. Like, I guess it's the same, but there's a big difference between being, say, what, here? Wait, what? Then run 1, 2, 3. The difference between being around here as this guy and right here. Obviously, in this one, I'm outside of Nimble Strike range, but even if I were here and in Nimble Strike range, one, to actually threaten this elf, they have to think that I do indeed have a Nimble Strike or Dancing Cut. And two, I'm in line of sight of them, right? If I go here, if I just have a Vicious Thrust, that's already going to be annoying, right? So it's like it's more likely I have a step attack if I'm 1 step away than if I'm 2 steps away. Yes, Nimble Strike is super common, is probably the one you should be playing around the most, but it's a thing. And again, notably by going this way, I'm out of line of sight of this Elf Wizard. So, big mistake on my end. That forgetfulness hurt, but it happens. Not a big deal. I could have passed there, potentially. Oh no, passing with a Blind Rage. Fucking Blind Rage. I don't understand how to use that card. Oh, I wonder, was that greedy? That was nice. That was so good for him on this part because, yeah, that was nice. I can Nimble Strike, like, so I could Nimble Strike, right? But he still has the dash to get away, so it's like, is it worth it? Probably not. So at this point, I think I passed because I am on the victory squares, and while I do lose a lot, I don't want to move everything yet because this wizard hasn't moved at all yet. Yeah. My next sequence of plays was good in that I managed to kill this wizard, and that's the only reason this game's close. And I feel like I played this part well, but what mistakes did I make? Because it was close-ish, right? And see, this is where missing that Wild Run hurts a lot. So one thing I mentioned at one point was that, like, I was kind of playing to his pace. I wasn't really able to establish something cool for myself. And like, because I didn't have a lot of moves, but I didn't have a lot of moves in general, right? But I needed to make moves to actually try to make something happen. I ended up playing a lot of my moves first, and then I got bombarded with terrain. And you'll see that, like, this elf dies from terrain. If I had that Wild Run, right? If I had that wild run, would have been great. Especially if I keep passing, just ignore it, make it seem like I don't have a move here. Which works out because I want to keep the reliable mail for as long as possible if I had the wild run. I don't want to just immediately use the wild run, discard reliable mail, and make myself extra vulnerable. See what I'm saying? But luckily, that worked out. Man, that hurt. 10 damage off of that, and then Blind Rage, I take so much more. And look what I could have done. I could have wild runned here. I could have wild run and, you know, done a lot. But instead, that hurts, and I'm in big trouble now. And oh, this Blind Rage kills me as well. The one defense I have for not for discarding the wild run is counting. I still had like 11-ish moves in the deck. I guess like 9 more moves at the time. So it's reasonably likely I would draw one card. I'd draw another move card, so that would have been the way to go. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, like the game would have been very different if I had the wild run and my elf was able to move off. I do think my biggest mistakes were missing the Vanguard here. Because at that point, even if he like... Okay, I'm just keeping note of this. Right, where's that Vanguard play? Right here. So instead, if I'd gone here and gone here, even if he tries to use the short perplexing ray to like be sneaky, if I'm here, he can't escape from the nimble strike, right? And then he's like really trapped and he doesn't have many places to go. If you could keep all your opponents together, it's generally, like if you keep the wizards together, it's really nice. That's probably the best way to attack wizards, is to keep them together as much as possible. Wizards want to abuse their range and they want to sort of, like, them sticking together is really nice, but sometimes you end up in positions where like one wizard is separated from the rest of the team, and if you try and chase them, you're sort of being pulled in all these different directions and nothing happens. And it just sucks. Okay, back to around here. I like to think that my play around here was pretty good. This was a smart move from him, being wary of the charge, especially because he knows I'm a werewolf. My charge does and will exist, so he's trying to block as best as he can. And so that was a little mistake there. If I wanted to, actually, hang on. Right, I was trying to push the elf out of the way to get a charge in, but he's being smart and is staying there. When my priest moved, so I still could have moved here to get facing. And then that would have made it harder for him to go. I guess he goes this way. But I can still run in for, and anyways, this was kind of interesting. This one was kind of interesting. I want to make sure I have facing for defender's block. The advantage, so yeah, going, if I had went here instead, that more likely gets me in a straight line. Like he could just move back here, but again, then they're together and that's kind of cool. But going here, going where I did move with the priest, prevents the elf from swinging back around this way, and then these two can then just sort of smack my priest around and not care about and ignore the defender's block, which I don't want. I need every single card to matter. So I think that worked out. I think that's reasonable, and no need to mighty charge again, knowing that that wizard has another run to move away. Keep it simple. Did I move right away? So I could have passed. Believe it or not, I could have passed. Potentially really risky, this one. Potentially. But I'm in defender's block range. I'm on the victory squares. Move their pressures. I didn't need to move yet. I could have passed. I could have used Mind Worm, even, on one of them. But moving is very precious. I do it immediately. Ooh. And let's look if there's a better place I could have gone with that move. Like, was there a way I could have threatened it? Like, so at this point, right, they're both hard. They're both not great targets for me to go after. Because if I try to chase this one runs back around behind. If I keep going that way, then what the hell am I doing over here? But then going after this one is annoying because they have at least 2 moves. So my instinct of going after this one makes more sense given that it's more central around the victory squares, which I need, which I'm most likely going to need to win. Right, at this point I have 3 stars. My best way to win is to kill one of them and then get a victory square. Get a star from the victory squares. That's my way to win. And this one instinctively is harder to catch because there's 4 dashes. Or they have 2 moves. Dash is 4 spaces. So they have 2 moves. If I get around like here, right, they don't have as many places to go because it's like, because this person can threaten quite a bit. There's this lava area they don't want to go to. There's some annoying difficult terrain here. Like, it's just kind of messy for them if I push them. And again, by going around here, I push them towards me, which makes it easier for my warrior to do things. Being efficient. Alternatively, well, yeah, either way, no matter which one I move up to, like, I am sort of putting direct pressure on them by being in melee range, and they know that I have melee attacks. I guess I wanted to run to just make more use of my defender's block because I'm feeling kind of pressured from being low on life. But let's also look at why passing is okay. Okay, so blind range and vulnerable sucks, right? If I pass and he passes, one, I get a star, which I need to win, then I can just go ham on chasing. And then I can keep defender's block and flank move. I don't take any damage from blind rage. Cool. The warrior doesn't have any blind rage, doesn't have to worry about it. I can get rid of the stupid able bludgeon. I probably keep running massive jaws just to be consistent. Mighty charge, it's nice that I have this lined up, but might not be useful, ultimately very useful if I'm trying to kill this one. Anyways, I should move there. Cool. This makes a very nice solid wall. If I'd moved here, say, you could still slip back that way, though it's not great. Yeah, this makes a nice solid wall. If I had stabs, it would have been great, but you're a priest. Priests can only do so much. Priests can do everything, but they shouldn't. Things get weird. Oh, that force cone is so good. I don't have another freaking thing. Okay, martyrs make sense. Whether I should have martyred first or not, I think the charge was the right move. I should have mind wormed this one just because it has more active cards. I think. Then again, I think my idea was that like it's probably not going to move much, and this is the one I want to chase. So was that a mistake? I don't know. I think it was reasonable. It's like this is low health, so it's like if I do manage to surprise kill it, right? Like I am 1 surprise kill away from killing that one. Okay, so how much damage am I taking here? If I stay on, I'm taking 8 plus, I'm taking 13 damage if I stay on. Whereas if I hop off, I take 8. Jesus. That's a lot of ouch. Now, okay. You know why passing is still okay? Why passing would be okay? If I pass here... Oh, stupid form. 1, I survive. I'm at 1 HP. I take 13 damage. I go down to 1 HP. That's fine. I haven't died yet. That's totally fine. What's cool is if I pass and he passes, I get to go first in the next round, and if I draw a Mighty Charge, I can just charge in to win. Pretty cool. So that's something I should have kept in mind. I shouldn't have panicked. Do I do cute self-drain stuff here? That sort of backfires because of the Blind Rage. I told me to only do 3 damage, not 5, but instead... Like, I can actually pass. And a Rain Touch is also a good idea. Oh, I guess I only take 3 plus 5. Oh yeah, there's 13, yeah. And see, look, now I can't charge for the win. Now I can't charge for the win. And then I should have gone Oh man, seeing this, I should have gone here to be out of line of sight. I wanted to stay in line of sight in case of heal or something. I wanted to stay in line of sight, which is why I moved there, but I should have moved here, which prevents him from getting on and keeps me out of line of sight of that one. Then I guess he dies. Oh no, he survives because of the... Werewolves have 2 built-in armor. Oh my god. So what do I do here? Man, I see both my blesses. One was discarded, and one was at a not so good time. And I moved first cause on the things. I could, like, if I had blessed, what happened if I blessed? You probably just, oh man, that was hard. That's probably over at this point. There's no good option at that point. Ouch. Alright, and that's the game. Yeah, I think the biggest one overall was discarding the Wild Run. I think would have had a very different game otherwise. So, when you correctly identify the thing, and then you don't listen to yourself, well, you learn. You learn. Make mistakes and you learn from them. Yeah, again, I was kind of drawing another move card, but it happens. All right, that's it for today. Hope that was interesting, and I will see y'all next time.